Greetings, redheads. Thank you for joining me in another edition, another live episode of your favorite show, the one, the only Red's View. Of course, I am your gracious host, J Red. What would you do without me? What would you do without me in this hip hop culture? For real, for real. Anyway, yeah, man. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Before I begin this video, make sure that you subscribe to youtube.com/Red's View. Go ahead and do that right now. You see it scrolling across your screen right now. Hit that subscribe button. Also, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Please do me a favor and hit that like button, or you can hit the dislike button. It is all good. We just want to get the traction up. We just want to get the algorithm going. And also make sure that you retweet this if you're on Twitter right now. Shout out to all my Twitter people. And make sure if you're on Facebook, join me with this conversation. Make sure that you comment, hit that share button as well. All right, because we're about to get into what everybody has been talking about that transpired this past weekend. Man, it's been so much stuff going on. But first, let me send my deepest condolences to a couple of fallen soldiers that we've lost. First, RIP to Rico Wade, man. RIP to Rico Wade, man. Legendary producer, a part of the legendary Organized Noise, which they created Dungeon Family. My understanding, Rico was the leader of that hip hop. They were a trio. It was Sleepy Brown, him, and I forgot the other gentleman's name. Don't kill me. But man, Rico was behind some of the biggest hits that you could think of. They produced, Organized Noise produced that whole Outkast debut album, Southern Playalistic Cadillac Funky Music, or Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music. But man, legendary producer, 52 years old, I believe he was, and he passed away. I'm not sure what his condition was or what led to his death, but that he's gonna be missed, man. The whole culture, the music culture of Atlanta, man, he really helped usher that in. His production, he produced Waterfalls. Like I said, that whole Outkast album with TLC Records. Waterfalls is one of the biggest records of all time. He produced that, him and Organized Noise, that good, authentic Southern sound. So he's really going to be missed, pioneer in this game, man. So RIP and deepest condolences to Rico Wade and the Dungeon Family, man. Dungeon Family, they're like the Southern Wu-Tang Clan, but even more because they did producing. I mean, RZA did producing as well, but man, Rico Wade, a big loss for the city of Atlanta. Also, RP to brother OJ Simpson. OJ Simpson. Now, for the trolls that are going to be in here talking about he deserved to die and all this other stuff, listen, man, OJ was a legend. He was innocent. There's not any possible way he could have did all of that in 25 minutes. I'm a firm believer in that. So he's a legendary. Outside of his murder trial, which he later got known for the most, OJ Simpson was a legendary football player, trailblazer, and he's before my time as far as seeing him on commercials and stuff. By the time he got to me, all I knew was the OJ Simpson trial. But I know his impact that he had on the game of football, legendary, and man, just deepest condolences to his family as well. All right. Then last but not least, man, RIP to Mr. C. Mr. C, they say deaths come in threes, and Mr. C was the first one that I found out about. And he will be missed as well. Legendary DJ. Without Mr. C, we wouldn't have Notorious B.I.G. We wouldn't have Biggie. Now, of course, Puffy is instrumental in Biggie's career, but from my understanding, DJ Mr. C helped put on Biggie, and he helped put on a lot of other different rappers. Now, I know some people are going to bring up the whole transgender stuff that he had going on. You know what I'm saying? Like he kept getting caught with the transgenders and the prostitution situation. But despite all that man is a legendary producer. I mean, a legendary DJ, man, and he will be missed as well. But let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. Now that we got all that out the way, let's go ahead and get into the good stuff. Now, over the weekend, Drizzy Drake dropped his response record back to K. Kendrick Lamar. Oh yes, I wish I had some DJ Clue bombs to play it. Boom, 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 boom. So that happened on Saturday, right? Yeah, it was Saturday. Saturday, we got Drake's diss record, which is called "Dropping Gimme 50." Now, of course, when I first heard it, I heard a clip of it. It was like a 1-minute clip on Twitter, and some people had sent it to me, and I had to question if it was AI or not. I had to question if it was AI or not, because I didn't think like because there was a different beat. It didn't sound like he had an effect on his voice, and it was a different beat from what officially dropped. And keep in mind, he still hasn't officially dropped it. He just co-signed it. Keep that in mind because we're going to talk about that a little later. But anyway, let me get back to it. So Drake dropped the "Drop and Give Me 50." Like I said, it was surfacing a minute clip surfaced around, and I think it was a verse where he was talking about Kendrick Lamar, how you gonna fit be a king, how you a big stepper with them seven size men's on or something like that, seven side kids on whatever, talking about him. And when I heard it, I was listening to it and I'm thinking, like, man, this got to be AI because this, I'm not thinking Drake is going to respond like this. So what I did is I went to my Facebook page and I said, I just heard this AI. I'm hoping this is AI Drake and I'm hoping this is not real Drake. It didn't sound official. It didn't sound like something Drake would have made. I'm thinking it's going to be more of a duppy freestyle. That's what I was expecting. But lo and behold, hours later, I think during the day, we got the CDQ version and it dropped everywhere. It was on Twitter, it was on YouTube, and we got Drop and Give Me 50. We got Drop and Give Me 50. That is what, no, it's called Push Ups. I'm sorry. It's called Push Ups, and then in parentheses, Drop and Give Me 50. So that dropped. And like I said, I heard the AI version. I'm like, these AI, let me say this, AI is really messing up the game right now because there's a Kendrick, there's like two Kendrick tracks that are going around right now that one was proven to be AI, and there's another one that came out. Man, AI is messing up the game right now because it has us confused on what's real and what's not. But anyway, I found it odd that this was leaked and it wasn't on SoundCloud or it wasn't on YouTube officially. And Drake never posted it from his page or anything like that. It got sent to DJ Academics. And Academics, shout out to him because he was covering everything. But when I heard when I heard the official track, let me tell you this. I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed with Drop and Give Me 50. I wasn't impressed. Now, I don't think that it was trash. The beat is bananas. The beat is dope. It got that 3-6 Mafia feel. Drake is spitting, but I don't think that it's enough for Kendrick Lamar. I think that it's cool, but I think that most people are just happy that Drake responded instead of liking the actual track. Most of y'all are just happy that Drake responded instead of digging the actual track. Because let me tell you this, man. He dissed, and I'm gonna go through the lyrics in a minute, but he dissed not just Kendrick Lamar, but he dissed Rick Ross. He talked about Future, Metro Boomin. From my understanding, Ja Morant. He talked about, is there anybody else that I'm missing? The Weeknd, he addressed him, but he went at everybody, which I don't fault him for because everybody wants to smoke with Drake. But I think what Drake messed up at is that he didn't keep his primary focus as much on Kendrick Lamar. This should have been a track. I feel like Kendrick Lamar is somebody, if you're going to come at him, you need to dedicate a whole track going at him. But the bars that Drake was spitting wasn't really groundbreaking to me. It wasn't groundbreaking to me. And like I said, it's like I was seeing the comments on it. And of course, all the Aubrey's Angels love this record. All the Aubrey's Angels. Shout out to my Aubrey's Angels. What's up, y'all? Go ahead and comment. Go ahead and say I'm biased. Go ahead and say I'm a Drake hater, which I'm not. But it just wasn't strong enough. Now, if I'm just riding in the car and listening to it as a catchy track, absolutely. But if I'm listening to it as a diss record, I'm disappointed in Drake. Like I said, I'm not trash, but I'm highly disappointed in Drake. Because what I was expecting was more of a duppy freestyle. I was expecting a duppy freestyle. Shout out to Goat 816 in the building. You say it was a mid diss track to me, but a good song, if that makes sense. Exactly. That's what I was just saying. It's a dope song. I'm not saying that it's trash, but a diss record towards Kendrick Lamar? No, sir. No, sir. No, ma'am. Now, to everybody else that he dissed Rick Ross and all them, the Metro Boomin, and I'm gonna go through the lyrics in a second, but to everybody else that he got at, I feel it. But with Kendrick, I was expecting a duppy freestyle, and Drake gave me a back-to-back. That back-to-back catchy shit is not going to work against Kendrick Lamar. That back-to-back catchy radio, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not, he tried to match the energy of Like That, and it ain't that. not against Kendrick. Now, if you were going to just against everybody else, I feel it. But I just don't think that this is going to end well for Drake. I don't think it's going to end well for him for a few reasons. And I'm going to get into that in a minute. But let's talk about the Aubrey's Angels. I know that y'all going to love it. The Aubrey's Angels love this track. They love it. And I think the hip hop community just likes the fact that Drake responded because J. Cole backed out. Let's keep it a buck. Y'all like the fact that Drake responded and J. Cole backed out. Had J. Cole not backed out and then Drake dropped this Drop and Gimme 50 record, this push-ups record, then I feel like people would be saying exactly what I'm saying, which is a lot of people. I took a poll, pause, huge pause. I took a poll on my page, on my YouTube page, and I asked who had the biggest, no, what did y'all think about this? And let me show you, hold on a second. Let me show y'all the results of what I put. All right, so I took a poll and it says, what do you think of Drake's Drop and Give Me 50 diss towards Kendrick? Now, the first bar said dope. The first said dope. The second one said trash. And the last one said okay, but not enough for Kendrick. Look at this. And this is backwards, right? But you see the percentage. The last option right there, 71%. 71% said okay, but not enough for K-Dot. Trash, 11%. And dope is 18%. So I think that the general consensus, and I'm glad for my channel, but I think that overall, we think it was an okay track. But the people who like it, they like the energy from Drake, the fact that he responded because J. Cole backed out. That's the real reason that a lot of people like it. Now, the Aubrey's Angels and Drake's fans are like, oh my God, you woke up Thanos and the sixth God is back and all this. Let me tell y'all, man, I hate to be a bearer of bad news, but that ain't gonna cut it. That's not going to cut it against Kendrick Lamar. Real talk. If you're watching this right now, hit that like button for me on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. Make sure that you retweet this because we're cooking tonight. We got a lot to talk about with this because I'm about to go over the lyrics and tell you why I thought that this was mid towards Kendrick and that Drake should have chosen another option. Again, before I go into the lyrics, Duppy Freestyle would have been the better approach. Duppy Freestyle, for those who don't remember, he dropped that against Pusha T, and he had one up on Pusha T. And I was looking like, damn, Pusha, what you coming back with? Because remember, Pusha started with Infrared, and then Drake came with Duppy Freestyle, and then Pusha ended it with the story of Adonai. But I was expecting that and not a back-to-back. Back-to-back works on Meek Mill and those type of rappers, but somebody like Kendrick Lamar now. So let me go through the lyrics real quick. He said, I start off, and I'm not going to play the track because I don't want a copyright strike. He said, I can never be nobody number one fan. Your first number one, I had to put it in your hand. He's talking about Future. That was a lethal shot at Future. All right. You pussies can't get booked outside of America, man. I'm out in Tokyo because I'm big in Japan. I'm a big hit maker, depending on backstage. It's friend zone, He said, you won't ever take no chain off us. How the fuck you big stepping with the size 7 men's on? I'm getting it twisted. Size 7's men's on. So he's talking about Kendrick like that right there being small. All right, that was cool. This the bark that bite, nigga. What's up? I know my picture on the wall when y'all cook up. I think he's talking about Metro Boomin and Future, you know. And then he said, extortion, baby, your whole career been shook up because Top told you drop and give me 50 like some push-ups. Your last one brick. You're really not shit. Now, let me say this. To say that Kendrick's last project, a lot of people take stabs at it. Was I a fan of that project? No. That's the only Kendrick album that I wasn't really feeling like that. It wasn't trash, but you can't say that it bricked. I just looked at the album sales. It still went platinum. It still was number one. It sold 200,000 the first week, over 200,000. So how did it brick? It didn't brick. That's cap. That's not true. It's just not true. Shout out to everybody tapping in right now. We're going through the bars that Drake wrote. So let me put that out there. That Kendrick album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Now I know it's not loved by the hip hop community like that. It was cool. I wasn't feeling it like that, but it did not brick. So that's cap. He says, pull your contract because we got to see the split. The way you doing splits, bitch, your pants might rip. Now, he's talking about Top and Kendrick Lamar's record deal. He's saying drop and give me 50 because Kendrick, I guess when he was on Top Dog, he had to give Top 50% of his earnings. I want to know, what is the big issue with that? Let that sink in. He said this whole song is based off of, drop and give me 50. That Kendrick, when he was on Top Dog, he had to give 50% to Top Dog. I don't really see that as a big flex. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're an independent artist, and I know back in the day, if you go 50-50 with the label, you're still winning at the end of the day, because a lot of these record labels give you 360 deals. You know what I'm saying? And with the 360 deals, they get a percentage of everything you do: shows, tours, merchandise, record sales, all that stuff. But if Top put on Kendrick and he's splitting it 50-50 with him, that means if Kendrick gets $1 million, Top gets 500, he gets 500. Other than Drake, now I think Drake is exclusively signed to Universal right now, Republic Universal. But Drake, weren't you signed to Lil Wayne, which was Young Money? Young Money, Lil Wayne didn't even own most of Young Money. Lil Wayne, Baby Birdman owned most of Young Money than Lil Wayne did. So you were signed to Lil Wayne, you were signed to Baby, and you were signed to Universal. That's 3 ways right there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what type of deal Drake had, but how was that a flex? Saying, give me 50, give me 50. I don't really see that as a big deal. For those in the comments, let me know how that is a real big deal. Drake didn't really have too much to really say about Kendrick, so he just started throwing stuff out there to see what sticks. But yeah, let's keep going. He's saying, drop it, give me 50. He says that, so you better do that motherfucking show inside the biddy. Maroon 5 need a verse, you better make it witty. Then we need a verse for the Swifties to say you better drop and give me 50. Pipsqueak pipe down. The Pipsqueak line was kind of funny. That was lame, corny, but funny. I hadn't heard nobody say Pipsqueak since the 90s or the 80s. You know, you little Pipsqueak, that sounds like something they would say on Grease or one of those 90 movies, you know, the Wonder Years or something like that. Move, you little Pipsqueak. Black folks don't say that. That proves that Drake is half white. Anyway, he says, you ain't no big 3. SZA got you wiped down. Travis got you wiped down. Savage got you wiped down. That's all cap. So you mean to tell me SZA is better than Kendrick Lamar? Travis Scott, who's talking about? Travis Scott is better than Kendrick Lamar, and 21 Savage is better than Kendrick Lamar. They're in the top 3 over him. Cap. All right. He says, like your label, boy, you in the scope right now. Meaning he's on Interscope. You in the scope right now. Okay. And you're going to feel the aftermath of what I write down. Yeah, this was the part of the verse that I heard that I thought was AI, and I wasn't impressed with that. I really wasn't, because I was like, I know Drake is more clever than that, but lo and behold, it was Drake. I'm at the mountaintop, so you tight now. Just to have this talk with your ass, I had to hike down. I like that one. Big difference between Mike then and Mike now. What the fuck is this, a 20v1 nigga? What's a prince to a king? He a son, nigga. Now, that one was a nice bar. That was a nice bar because Kendrick compared himself to Prince, and Prince outlived Mike Jack from the Like That. He on the Like That song, he said that Prince outlived Mike Jack. So the double entendre is, what's a prince to a king, which the prince is under, but also Michael Jackson's son's name is Prince. So that was interesting. That was a clever bar. Shout out to Drizzy for that. So he says, yeah, I'm 6 God, I'm the front runner. No. Let me go back. He said, what the fuck is this 20v1, nigga? What's a prince to a king? He a son, nigga. Get more love in the city than you from. Get more love in the city that you from, nigga. This was the funniest bar right here. Metro, shut your whole ass up and make some drums, nigga. Now, I thought that was corny at first, but it was funny, like the way it caught on. And I could see folks in the club saying that, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, Metro, shut your bitch ass up and play some drums. And what's funny is Drake has been trolling. He sent a drum line down to Magic City, you know, because Metro, he's not really from Atlanta. He's really from St. Louis, but he sent a drum line to Magic City, outside Magic City, and he posted in his stories, and they playing the drums. And he also posted a Drumline, the actual movie, referencing, you go play some drums, Metro. So that was, it was all right. So he says, y'all, what he say? Yeah, I'm the sixth guy. I'm the front runner. Y'all nigga manager was Chubbs, little blunt runner. Claim the and if those don't know what a little blunt runner is, that's just the do boy. Hey, you just a little blunt runner. Go get us some blunts. So he says, claim the six, and you boys ain't even come from it. I guess he's talking about the Weeknd right there. He says, when you boys got rich, you had to run from it. Cash blowing able bread out here tricking. Shit, what you do for bitches, we do for what he said. Shit, we do for bitches, he doing for niggas. Jets, whips, chains, wicked, wicked, wicked. Referencing Future. Drizzy Chippendale got your bitch in Chanel. I just got him done, boy. Don't make me have to chip a nail. Rolling Loud stage, blah, 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 blah. Hugs and kisses. So this is the part right here. He says, I'll be rocking every fucking chain I own my next visit, because if you remember on the Like That song, Kendrick said, I got two T's with me. I'm snatching chains and taking tattoos, something of the sort. So Drake is saying, you ain't gonna take my chain. I'll be rocking every fucking chain I own next visit. I'll be with some bodyguards like Whitney to say, drop your little mid. What do you say? Top say, drop your little midget ass. Better fucking. What do you say? Top say, drop your little midget ass. Better fucking. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to read these lyrics because of slang and stuff like that. But this is where Drake messed up at. You mentioned Kendrick's wife. Oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I just hope you know what you're doing. But Drake did the chorus. Hey, you better drop it. Give me 50. Drop it. Give me 50. And this is to Rick Ross. He said, I might take your latest girl and cuff her like I'm Ricky. Can't believe he jumping in. This nigga turning 50. So that was a shot at Rick Ross. We're going to get to that later. And yeah, I mean, what do he say? Nigga calling Top to see if Top want to piece it up. Top want to piece it up. Cornball, your show money merch is a feed of us, blah, 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 blah. Niggas teaming up. So yeah. So that's all. That's all Drake really had to say about Kendrick. Now, this is going to be the downfall right here. He mentioned Kendrick's wife. Now, if you remember what happened the last time Drake mentioned someone's significant other, his name was Pusha T. That was his fiance at the time. And remember, he did that on Duppy Freestyle. And boy, Pusha T came back and said, now you talk about my fiance. Let's talk about your Beyonce. Who is your Beyonce? And I can't remember the exact lyrics, but he started talking about him knocking up a porn star. Remember that? And then we got the whole story of him hiding a son, you're hiding a child, all that. And all hell broke loose. And it was so bad. Drake allegedly had a diss track, but couldn't drop it because Jay Prince made an OG call. You remember that? And we never got that diss record. Shout out to everybody for checking in. Antoine Perkins said Drake is good but overrated. We got Marley Coldberg. You said, I think he's going to make a track that is solely catered for Kendrick. Kendrick only gave Drake a feature verse. This is true. What's up, Jamie Williams? You said it was cool, but contrary, we know Birdman's fleet. Yep. Drake talking about splits, middleman. He had, yep. And if you remember, Pusha T had made that song. What was that song he did? This was like back in like 2013. And guy did a freestyle over that song too. But he was like, you signed the one nigga that signed the two niggas, that's three niggas. What was that song, y'all? I forgot. Pusha T had this, Lil Wayne, the whole Cash Money. Remember that? This was years before Infrared and all that came out. I forgot what that song was. But yeah, he had dissed him and said you signed the three niggas and all this other stuff, right? And what you say, Twan, you said Drake is a culture vulture. J. Cole is in his own head, needs therapy. Exodus, thank you. Exodus, that's what it was. People sleep about that. Yeah, they sleep on that. Exodus. He got at him back then. Wasn't that 2013 when he dropped? So yeah, Pusha had already put that out there. So it's contradicting. It's contradictory to talk about a nigga's profits being split and all that because you were signed to three dudes. Now, of course, Drake made millions eventually, but we don't really know all that Drake has to see because the Forbes list can report how much you make. You know what I'm saying? Like you can go to the Forbes list and go to see what a person's gross income is. You can see all that stuff. You can see the MTV cribs, but behind the scenes, They got to pay for protection. You don't know how much Birdman is getting off of Drake. You don't know how much Lil Wayne's still getting off of Drake. We don't know. We don't know. So for you to, this is my thing. Drake didn't have a lot of smoke for Kendrick because I don't think Drake was mad enough. I don't think that Kendrick made Drake mad enough. See, when Pusha called out Drake, Drake was mad originally with Infrared. He had just won the battle with Meek Mill, right? And now he's being successful. And then here come Pusha T bringing up the ghostwriting allegations. All the ghostwriting, well, they ain't allegations. He used a ghostwriter. The reference tracks had already been dropped and everything. So he came out with that, and Drake couldn't handle it. Drake was like, man, fuck this shit. I'm about to go in. So he made Duppy Freestyle, which was good. But then Pusha T, of course, ended everything after that. But I don't think that Kendrick really made Drake mad. I think that Drake is just coming off a tour. Well, I know he just came off a tour. He's comfortable right now. So when you see a Kendrick Lamar go at you and you see he got the #1 record and stuff, you know that you've been avoiding this beef for years and stuff like that. So Drake just said, you know what? Everybody's going at me. I'm going to just go at everybody and just start throwing bullets. And what I said this on my last show last week with DJ PM, shout out to you, and CJ. And I was wondering, what can you really say negative towards Kendrick besides physical appearance? Like, I didn't give a shit how much Top was getting off of him. Pause. I didn't care they were going 50-50. That don't seem like a bad deal to me. Now, 80-20, you know what I'm saying? Like something like that. Or if it was like 60-30 or some shit, like something like that, I'd be like, oh, like, you know, or 70-30, whatever it is, 70-30. And Kendrick was getting 1% on the dollar or something like that, I'd be like, okay, he had a slave deal, you know. But you had to dig in and talk about paperwork. That really wasn't compelling enough to be like, oh, you got him. You know, you talked about him being a pipsqueak and him being little. That was cool, you know, it's cool. But was it enough? I just don't think that it was enough to go at Kendrick Lamar. This isn't Common. This isn't Meek Mill. No disrespect to these other rappers. It's not them, man. It's not Future. It's not Rick Ross. This is Kendrick Lamar. You still have to process this man's albums years after they came out. Damn, that album, damn, you can play that from front, literally from front to back. You could play that album backwards and then it has a different message in it. How many rap albums do that? You know what I'm saying? Now, I feel that Drake made a lot of y'all are happy that he made an effort just to go at Kendrick, but y'all have to know deep inside that it's not that. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that. That J. Cole, now I ain't gonna lie, it was a little better than the J. Cole record because J. Cole sounded so unsure of himself, it didn't even make no damn sense. J. Cole didn't even sound, Drake sounded like he had balls on this one. I give him that one. But it ain't enough. And I feel like his focal point really, it was Kendrick Lamar, but it wasn't. He had to dig and see what could I really say about him. And for y'all thinking, oh, this is just a warm up, he got some more coming. No. The most vicious thing that he did was name drop Whitney, because I was like, he said bodyguard like Whitney. I thought that was just a random bar. But when I found out that Whitney was Kendrick's wife, I said, ooh. And I saw some other theory that Whitney was messing with Kendrick's bodyguard or some shit like that. Y'all heard about that? There was something like that. Ali Muhammad, you said, I think Drake is more mad at the fact that people hold Kendrick to a higher regard than him. It's always been a jealousy thing, in my opinion. True, because Drake wants to be #1. And he takes #1 very seriously, according to DJ PM. But it's been a bug in his ass about Kendrick Lamar because Kendrick Lamar is the only worthy opponent to Drake if you're talking about success. Now, keep in mind, Kendrick had reached a peak with Damn, but Kendrick backed away. Kendrick didn't keep dropping stuff after that. He went away. Let me see. That was Damn was 2017, and then it was 5 years later, and we got an album. Just imagine if Kendrick kept going. He had the song with Rihanna. What if he kept doing songs with Rihanna? Oh, he would have crept up on Drake eventually because he's outsold Drake that year. If you remember, I remember Kendrick came out and did like 600K the first week with Damn. Earlier that year, I think Drake had dropped, what was that album with his dad on the front cover? More Life. And, you know, they call that like a playlist album or whatever, but that only sold like, I think like 300,000, 400,000, something like that. So Kendrick is there, but it's not enough, man. I just know that it's not enough for him. So it wasn't, nothing was groundbreaking, man. And I think that this again was a better diss towards Metro. It was a better diss towards Future. Those were the highlights of it more so. Rick Ross, because Rick Ross got Drake on a lot of his different hits that charted. You said definitely E effort, but he is about to get ethered. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Drake left himself wide open, bro. I was just watching the Joe Budden podcast and they was talking about some pedophilia stuff that they could talk about with Drake. I'm not gonna get all into that. I'm gonna let Kendrick cook, but I told y'all who I had from the get-go. I told you it was K Dot. Kendrick ain't nothing to play with. Now, of course, people were like, Kendrick's never been battle tested and all this because he had 4 niggas apologize. He had 4 people apologize to him already. Lupe, Jay Electronica, who was a lyrical genius, J. Cole, and Lupe. I said Lupe. Who else was it? It was 4 people because they named 4 people. But he's never been battle tested because people don't really want to battle him. Now, people say on Control now, I remember who dropped that record? Papoose dropped the record towards him. Big Crit dropped the record, but it was response records. Papoose was the only one I remember going at Kendrick real hard, but Papoose wasn't even on the level of Kendrick, so people overlooked that. Go look that up. Go look up Papoose when you done watching me. Go look up what Papoose, his response to Kendrick Lamar's Control verse. It was dope. And then who else did I say? I said Papoose and Big Crit had Mount Olympus, but that was a response record, but it wasn't going at Kendrick per se. It was the hook was now they want to hear a country nigga rap, you know, and it was dope. It was real dope. You could barely understand some of the stuff he was saying. I'm just keeping it a buck because that Southern drawl took over. But shout out to Crit. I fuck with Crit heavy. But he hasn't really been battle tested by the people who are on his level because they fear Kendrick. Kendrick goes in. And this is the thing. Once Kendrick, and I'm claiming it, once Kendrick goes at Drake and wins this rap battle, this rap war, whatever you want to call it, Kendrick will be the #1 rapper. It will be, I was about to say it will be uncontested, but it will be contested. They're going against each other right now. We see Drake's effort. What Drake had to offer us, I'm saying, and of course a lot of y'all saying, that it's not a good enough effort. So once Kendrick defeats Drake, that means that Kendrick is the #1 rapper. Now, am I saying Drake's career is going to be over? I ain't say that. Am I saying that Kendrick will be able to make more hits than Drake? I ain't going to say that. But if you talk about MCing, if you're talking about the basis, the foundation of what hip hop is, Kendrick will be that #1 it guy. Even OVO Dick Riding, DJ Academic said that. And I say that with love, even though it's negative. It will be contested that he's #1. Drake wouldn't be that. Now, Drake won't lose his position as one of the biggest artists, probably the biggest artist in the game as far as rap goes. But if you're talking about rapping bar for bar, gotta go with Kendrick. You gotta go with Kendrick. So that's my thing. I think that it was mid. I think that it was okay, but not strong enough. And I feel like if he took more time to focus on Kendrick and let that have Future and Rick Ross and all them be on a different record, or just give them a couple bars. But it should have been mostly about Kendrick, but he really didn't have anything negative to say about Kendrick. You can't get out his catalog. You can't get on it at his record sales. He just tried to get at his record sales and failed. Talking about Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers was a brick. That wasn't true. It didn't have any hit records on there. Oh, it didn't have any hit records, but it did sell well. It didn't sell as much as his last few albums, but it still sold well. So Poppy YT, you said Drake's diss track is the most stupid shit I heard. Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, I was expecting more of a duppy freestyle more than a back-to-back. Now, let's get into this real quick. Why did Drake leak his diss record towards Kendrick? Why did he leak his diss record towards Kendrick? Because he didn't really officially release it. It's not on streaming platforms. Why did he leak it? Let me give you what I've been reading and looking at some stuff and different theories, and I feel like this one is true. Matter of fact, let me see. Shout out to Pimp PEMP 9606 who's on YouTube, because remember I said I made a poll and I said what did you think about the diss track towards Kendrick? And 71% of the people out of the rest of the 30% said that they felt like it was okay but not good enough towards Kendrick. Let me read you this comment. He said it was cool and the Drake fans are super excited, but he didn't even release it. He leaked it to see what kind of response it would get. Kind of weird to me. All right. And I saw other theories about that. Like people feel like Drake leaked that just to see what people would say about it. When he saw that his Aubrey's Angels and the rap community, some of the rap community thought it was good and they were happy he released something, took some jabs, he went on ahead and said, okay, let's release it. He sent it to DJ Academics. He wanted to have that mixtape feel, but he didn't drop it on streaming platforms. He didn't drop it officially. See, when he dropped Duppy Freestyle, I remember specifically he dropped it on SoundCloud. Tell me if I'm wrong. I think he dropped it either on Hot New Hip Hop or SoundCloud or something like that. I remember it being on SoundCloud. But the reason I feel, I agree with Pimp 9606, and I agree with some of the people that's on Twitter. I feel like he was doing this to kind of test the waters a little bit. You know, let me put this out to see what people are saying. Let's go with the narrative that it is AI, because they can't pay people to say that. Let's say that it is AI just to see what people are saying. And then some people were saying, oh, this AI sound good. He said, okay, let's just go ahead and drop it. So that way you can't compare it to like that all the way because it's not on streaming platforms. He didn't drop it on streaming platforms because let's say he did drop it on streaming platforms. Like That is the #1 song for 3 weeks in a row on Billboard Hot 100. Like That is the #1 song on Hot 100, the #1 song in the country, on top of the world, Craig. The #1 song 3 weeks in a row. If Drake were to drop his diss record on streaming platforms right now, do you think that it would be #1? Oh, I know it would chart, but do you think it would chart #1? I don't think so. So I think that that's another reason. But the main reason I think he ran with that AI narrative just to see and test the waters, because he knows since you got to remember, man, Metro Boomin and Future just went #1 with their We Don't Trust You album, and the We Still Don't Trust You album is going #1 again. That it's a whole different album. So they about to have 2 #1s within a couple of weeks from each other. And Like That is a big record right now. So yeah, Drake probably was trying to test the waters to make sure he covered his grounds. That's what I'm thinking. He didn't want to give it because he still never officially released it and said, I mean, he pretty much co-signed it. He confirmed it somehow, I think, with DJ Academics, because that's his road dog. But he leaked it. He leaked his own diss record just to see what people, because come on, man. I know that Drake has a good team around him that wouldn't just leak a diss record because it was not mixed and mastered all the way and all, and then you leak that record, but then you have the CDQ version, the official version later on, hours later. Something seemed real fishy about that. So I think that's what it is. Drake is his own biggest critic, I feel like. And once he saw you Aubrey's Angels gas this shit up and say, oh my God, the Sixth God is back and he's Thanos and he's going at everybody, he said, okay, let's go ahead and put it out. Let me know in the comment section what you think about that. And again, I'm saying this. Kendrick is coming to Ether Drake. It's coming. I don't know when. I don't know how. I can only imagine. Oh, but it's coming. Now, this is the thing. Some people were saying, Kendrick, you on the clock. Drake was on the clock for damn near a month before he dropped something, because We Don't Trust You, that album came out like 3 weeks ago, I want to say. So Drake had some time. He had ample amount of time. Now, I know he was on tour. Maybe he would have put out something faster. But Kendrick, I give Kendrick at least 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. Some people say he had a diss track already. He already had some stuff in the canister, but we'll see. We'll see. But I'm not expecting him to drop this week. If he does, I want him to. I really want him to, preferably on Friday. Now, will Kendrick drop his on streaming platforms? I don't know. But there have already been several Kendrick Lamar alleged disses that a lot of people feel like is AI that's out already. So we'll see what's to come from that. But I'm telling you, man, he mentioned the man's wife. So all gloves are off. In Academics, I saw him talk about this earlier. When you mention somebody's wife, you see what happened last time, Aubrey. I hope you know what you're doing. I hope you know what you're doing. You said, wow, when you say it like that, the way it leaked. Yep. Uh-huh. Yep. You said Kendrick from the shoot back down. Don't worry. Oh, yeah, man. Anybody who listens to hip-hop, if you're a hip-hop purist, hip-hop fan, or just a casual hip-hop listener that is very familiar with Kendrick Lamar, you already know what's about to happen. You already know what's about to happen. You said I heard Big Ross made a diss track back at Drake. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Speaking of that, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Now, this is the thing. I'm about to say Kendrick Lamar. Rick Ross did respond to Drake, but I don't think that Rick Ross is going to defeat Drake or can defeat Drake in a rap battle. But in a troll battle, Rick Ross all day. Rick Ross is about to troll this man to death, and it's already started. For those who not familiar with Rick Ross is one of the biggest trolls on the internet. Did you see when he was beefing with DJ Envy? DJ Envious. Remember all that? He was trolling DJ Envy, and Envy was getting all red in the face and stuff. Rick Ross is a great troll, and you know where he learned that trolling from? Y'all know where? His beef with 50 Cent. Do y'all remember back in, what was that? Was that 2009? Oh, was that 08, 09 when he was beefing with 50? I forgot what year that was. It was around the time Triller had came out, I want to say. But back then when he was beefing with 50, 50 was trolling the hell out of him. He put the little wig on and was talking about his name was, and then like Curly or something like that. And he was trolling Rick Ross, taking his baby mama shopping and all this other stuff. Rick Ross learned from that. And he started trolling 50 back most recently, and he's been trolling Drake. For those who are familiar, man, oh my goodness. He dropped this track and it's called Champagne Moments. Champagne Moments. And this is the cover right here. It got White Boy Drake. Champagne Moments. And look at the hashtag BBL Drizzy. BBL Drizzy. Hilarious. So what did I think about the track? I'll say this. It was an okay track. It was okay. Some people did like it, some people didn't like it. I think it was okay. The biggest thing that I got from the track, I liked his comments afterwards, his trash talk at the end. In my opinion, the trash talk at the end from Rick Ross was better than the actual diss record itself. Now, keep in mind, man, Rick Ross made that in an hour. He heard his name mentioned in a song, and he took to Instagram in the studio and started laughing. And I didn't know what was going on, but I literally an hour later, because I had went and I was out eating. And by the time I got finished eating, his diss record that came out, Champagne Moments. And I was like, oh shit, is it real? And then he just put it on streaming platforms. So he's running those streams up. It's a funny record. He's talking about Drake having a nose job and Drake having a BBL. And he said the reason he unfollowed him was because Drake sent a cease and desist to French Montana and all that stuff. So it was funny. It was a funny track, playful track in my opinion. I don't think it was no ether. I don't think it was lethal. It had a nice little smooth beat, but I really wasn't feeling it all the way like that. But like I said, his trash talk at the end was hilarious. And Rick Ross has been trolling Drake. He's been talking about ghostwriting allegations. He was playing sicko mode the other day. And he said, y'all want to know who wrote this? Y'all want to know who wrote this? So it was hilarious to me. It was hilarious to me. You say he finna troll the hell yeah, man. Rick Ross is the ultimate troll. 50 Cent is the biggest troll. Rick Ross is another troll. And I don't think, and Drake is trying to troll. I give Drake his credit. He's been posting some kind of funny stuff. Did y'all see the where Drake had texted his mom? Let me see if I can find that real quick. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see if I can find that. Let's see. Is this one it? Right here? This one. Trying to find it all the way. All right. Yeah, let me share my screen with y'all. Hold on a second. So this is what Drizzy had texted his mom right here. He said, so his mother had said, Obs, the internet saying you got a nose job. You look the same to me in the kitchen today. I can't believe you would get one without me because you know I always wanted one. Don't tell me that you got tattoos without me. And now this too. He said, I would have got us a 2-for-1 deal if I went, Ma. It's coming from Rick Ross, the guy I did songs with. He's gone loopy off the Manjaro. He hasn't been eating. He hadn't been eating in days, and it's turned him angry and racist. He's performing at these proms for money and it's bad. Don't worry about it. We'll handle it. So that was funny. Now let me find. I'm gonna try to find where Rick Ross um had trolled Drake about calling his mama. Let me see if I can find that real quick, man. Uh Let me see if I can find it. Y'all give me just a second. Should have had this already pulled up. Is this one? Nah, that ain't it. Man, I can't find it right now. Man, I can't find it. But when y'all get a chance, go look it up because I was trying to see if it was on YouTube. But basically, he was like, "Oh, Drizzy Drake, you told your mommy on me. She can't save you, white boy. She can't save." And the fact that he's calling him white boy and all that, it's hilarious, man. That's why Drake had said, "Okay, he's racist," but it's hilarious. But you said those are warning shots from Rick Ross. Yeah, Lord knows what else. And that's another thing with the whole Kendrick thing, right? We don't know what else Kendrick knows about Drake. Drake has left himself wide open before. That's the reason his son got revealed. And I'll go ahead and say this. I don't think that Drake would be displaying his son, talking about his son, showing the world to his son, had that Pusha T track not drop. I'm standing on that because would you want to be revealed that you had a baby by a porn star? Somebody that got a threesome ran on them, or a train ran on them, something like that, because ASAP Rocky hit. And I'm thinking allegedly that Drake had to get a paternity test because he didn't know if the child was his because he had a threesome with her or something like that. I don't know. Something crazy, but it was a bad look. So would you want to reveal you had a son with a porn star? A child with a porn star? Was that going to be a part of the deal? I don't know. I don't think he would have did it. But like I said, Rick Ross probably knows more stuff that we know. Could get bad. He said, "I'll take it there with you. Want to go with you? Go there with you." But my thing is, musically, I think that Drake could get on Rick Ross. And another thing I want to point out, it's phony. A lot of this thing shows that the industry is phony because Rick Ross and Drake were like this. They were rumored to have an album coming out together. They have several dope songs together. A couple of classic songs, in my opinion. I'm on one. I love that song. Was it Dice Pineapples? I love that song. Aston Martin music. That's one of the dopest rap tracks. That arguably is the dopest Rick Ross and Drake collab, in my personal opinion. They've made some dope tracks together, and all of a sudden they just switching up. Like it's real weird. I thought that they were close, you know. So I found that kind of odd, and it shows you that the industry is very, very phony, very, very phony. And Drake posting out that telling Rick Ross, "Hey man, your number ones," or I don't know if he had number ones, but like your top songs, I was on, which is true. But I think it was an even trade. I think that Rick Ross rubbed off on Drake. Drake rubbed off on Rick Ross. That's what Rick Ross was pretty much saying. My influence is what helped get you here. Just like everybody Drake collabs with. Because one thing about Drake is a wave rider. If somebody's up and coming, you've seen that happen with Fetty Wap. You've seen that happen with the Migos. Now, it was an even trade, but let's not act like if these artists did not have Drake, they wouldn't be as big as they are. Arguably, right? Future was already coming up. I feel like Future would have eventually got here, but Drake did help him out. But I also feel like Future helped Drake out. Drake at that time was trying to put out street anthems and stuff, and Future was the hottest trap rapper at the time. So let me hop and do some songs with him. Rick Ross was the hottest trap rapper at that time when he was collaborating with him. Let me collaborate with him and get some hits going. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm glad that you brought that up. You said maybe this thing is a joke. I saw shout out to Brand Man Sean. I saw him talk about this, and I've been talking about this too. What if the whole rap game got together, and I'll say the whole rap game, I'm talking about the people at the top: Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, Rick Ross, Future, Metro Boomin, and all of them said, "Man, look, last year hip hop took an L. We didn't have no number one albums until later. We didn't have no number one singles like that." And remember, the rap game was in a drought in 2023. So did the record labels conspire this? Did the rappers come together and say, "Let's spice this up right now. Let's get some WWE shit going to drive some stuff up," right? Because Like That, again, is the number one song 3 weeks in a row. Would that have happened if it wasn't a beef? Like if it wasn't a diss track? I don't know. I don't think so. The controversy surrounding that is what got like that to number one. So what if everybody conspired to say, man, we need to get hip hop back to the forefront again? Beef is the easiest way to go because look, I'm doing a whole show, a whole broadcast talking about it right now. So it's not too far stretched from the imagination that they probably could have came up with this. So Poppy YT, I'm not disagreeing with that. That's something to really think about. Now, judging based off of how Kendrick comes, we don't know. And part of me wants to say that this all could be scripted and fake. The other part of me is like, I don't know, because J. Cole backed out. That felt real. That felt real because that diss track didn't sound like he believed in it. And he dropped out. So maybe this all is conspired to try to drive up sales from rap. Because it is ironic that the year after hip hop was down, you know, where it wasn't no number ones and stuff like this helped spike everything up. So I don't know. That is an interesting point. Definitely an interesting point. But y'all let me know in the comment section as well on Facebook right now. If you're watching me on Facebook, make sure that you do me a favor, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Drop a fire emoji if you're enjoying the show. And if you're on Twitter right now, hit that retweet for your boy. Hit that retweet because we're going in tonight. All right, so at the end of the day, Rick Ross will win in a troll battle against Drake. Drake is not winning a troll battle against Rick Ross. That ain't happening. Rick Ross all day for the trolling. All right, so one thing, other thing I wanted to cover. Do we care about Drake having ghostwriters in 2024? Now, the reason I asked this is because, like I said, Rick Ross talked about Drake having ghostwriting allegations for the song Sicko Mode. He said, y'all want to know who wrote this? Want to know who wrote this? So some people are like, oh, okay, they're going at Drake again for the ghostwriting stuff. Also, there have been a couple of reference tracks that have been dropping with Drake, including this one right here. Shout out to Hot New Hip Hop. It says Drake and Lil Yachty reference track situation leads to heated legacy debate. Now let's see. If you remember, like Meek Mill had called out Drake for the ghostwriting stuff some years ago, and that led to their battle. But there has been a reference track for the song Jumbotron Shit Popping Off for Her Loss. I didn't even know that was on that album. I ain't really listen to the album like that. Essentially, Yachty did the entire track and Drake sang it word for word with the same melody. Although Drake has written for countless artists, including Kanye West, fans still felt like there was some sort of betrayal. While ghostwriters helped, fans felt it was weird that Drake was just taking the entire song and not changing it up whatsoever. All right. I'm not going to play the song because I do not want it to get me a copyright strike, but it was this and some other songs as well. So what do y'all think? You know, see me, I've come to terms with Drake having writers. Now, do I think that Drake can write music? Absolutely. But when I found out that Drake had ghostwriters, he had assistants writing with Quentin Miller and stuff like that, I took him out of the top rappers category. I put him, I mean, he's a rapper, don't get me wrong, but if you have ghostwriters, and when I say ghostwriters, I don't mean just assistants on tracks. Like if somebody throws you a couple of lines or somebody is in the studio with you, you know, helping you kind of, you know, give input on your verse, that's a little different. Producers do that all the time. But or throw some ideas. If you're bouncing off ideas and stuff, that's one thing. But if somebody's pinning your whole verse on some Lil Bow Wow, Eazy-E, Diddy type of stuff, Kanye type of stuff, if somebody pins your whole verse and they don't get credited on the song, that means they're a ghostwriter. Remember, a ghostwriter they're paid to write the song. They're not going to get any residuals from the song, depending on what's in the contract. But the ghostwriter, they call them ghosts for a reason. They write the song and give it to you. Right? The only way that you had input, if they get credited on the song, meaning that if you open that booklet out and they see that, if you see that their names is on it, that means that you gave input on that too. They collaborated with you on the song. But if somebody writes your whole verse, like T.I. was a ghostwriter for Bow Wow on one of those projects that he had. But anyway, let me get back to Drake. Do we care about Drake having ghostwriters? I do. You know, but I'm not also surprised that these reference tracks are coming out. We already know about this. So if anybody's going to continue to go at Drake about the ghostwriting thing, I mean, To his fans, that's a losing battle because people don't care. People don't care about that. Um, you said I do ghostwriters for R&B artists, not hip hop artists. Well, what do you say about Eazy-E? What do you say about Diddy, Kanye West? If they're not trying to be the number one rapper and not saying, hey, I don't write rhymes, I write checks, is that a problem for people in hip hop? Shout out to the Core Room podcast, too. I will be on the Core Room podcast. What was it, April 27th, I think, or 25th? One of those. It's going to be on a Sunday, so y'all stay in tune for that. And what you said JoJo Sawai finna join the drama because this whole thing just stupid, bro. But yeah, I don't really think that Drake having ghostwriters is a big deal anymore. It is to the hip hop purists, to the hardcore hip hop fans. But me, I expect it. I just don't put him up there with the Kendrick Lamars and the Drakes I'm saying the Drakes, the Kendrick Lamars, the J. Coles, and everybody who don't have ghostwriters because Drake is a hit maker. Now, if you're talking about hip hop artists, Drake is on the top. But if you're talking about rappers, I don't put him in the same category as a J. Cole and the Kendrick Lamar. And let me say this. There was a reference track that came out with Kendrick Lamar that's already been debunked. I think that it was something, whatever. Y'all go look that up. I forgot what song. I think it was N95. It was somebody that did like a reference track on that or whatever. But that person was credited on the song and they collaborated with Kendrick on the song. So Kendrick didn't have no ghostwriter on there. It was like on the hook or something like that. So anyway, that's debunked. But do y'all care about Drake having ghostwriters? A lot of people in the hip hop community do. I don't care to an extent. To an extent, meaning that if we're having a rap conversation, and you say rappers, some of the greatest of all time, and you're naming Jay-Z, Nas, Scarface, and all that, and you say Drake, I'm gonna say no. Were we talking about hip hop artists or are we talking about rappers? Like MCs. Let's just be specific MCs. If we're talking about MCs, Drake is one of the nicest, but he doesn't do it all the way because he cares about hits, which is cool, but I can't put you on there as one of the top MCs of all time. GOAT list, exactly. If you want to be on that GOAT list, you can't have a ghostwriter. I agree with that 110%. 110%. Man, we are heavy in here tonight. Shout out to everybody who has been joining me and who's joined right now. But yeah, all together, man, I think that Kendrick is about to slaughter, demolish. Oh, it's about to be a nuclear missile. It's about to be a nuclear missile, a nuclear bomb, an atomic bomb on Drake. And man, I'm going to just be in the front row laughing. Shout out to Jonathan Hare. Kendrick is on a whole nother level. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. He's on a whole nother level, man. Kendrick, when you're talking about just overall artists, now Drake, don't get me wrong. Drake is a well-rounded artist, one of the best artists that hip-hop has ever seen. Let's not get it twisted. However, you're talking about rappers, pure MCs, Kendrick has arguably 3 classics. Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, and Damn. Each one of those albums, depending on who you ask, somebody's going to say that one of those albums are classics or a classic per se. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, nah, but Damn, for sure. It won a Pulitzer Prize. My favorite Kendrick Lamar album of all time is, of course, To Pimp a Butterfly. I think that's his best album, no doubt. Good Kid, Mad City, a lot of people call that a hip-hop classic. So those are 3. Name me a rapper that had 3 classic albums back to back. Some people will name Kanye. I wouldn't say Kanye. You can't say Jay-Z. You can't say Nas. Now, they've had multiple classics, but not back to back. Kendrick's albums were so good. I thought he was probably done after Damn. To be honest with you, because I feel like he didn't really have anything to prove. Good Kid, Mad City was his well-rounded debut album that appealed to the underground hip-hop scene, the hip-hop purist scene, plus the mainstream scene. And then To Pimp a Butterfly, that was catered just towards the core fans. And then he covered his grounds with Damn. Damn was like an industry album. So he really didn't have anything to prove after that. You said, correct me if I'm wrong, but we jumped from top 4, Kanye, Kendrick, Cole, and Drake, to this top three. Yeah, I mean, well, this is the thing. If you're talking about the big three, what J. Cole said, I think the big three, when they first came out, the top, like, and we're talking about the new generation, like the artists that were born in the 80s, like the mid to late 80s on up, which was that new generation. See, Hove and all them were Generation Xers. They were like 68. What's Generation X? It's like 1968 all the way to like 1979, 1980. And then the Generation X comes, I mean, Generation Y, which is the millennials. So out of the millennials who it came out, that fresh batch of hip hop, when you're talking about the Big Sean's, Wale, it was like a renaissance at that time. But the ones who were at the top were J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and Drake. Those were always the top three. So I think that's what they were talking about with the big three. I don't think that they were putting Kanye in there because Kanye is a Generation Xer, late Generation X, because he's like 1977, I want to say. So I think that's what they were talking about. You said, I'm just excited the entertainment is like WrestleMania 2024. Let me say this. WrestleMania 2024 was off the chain, by the way. Some people call it the best WrestleMania of all time. I don't know if I agree with that all the way. It was definitely one for the ages, for real, for real. One of the best. Who watched WrestleMania 2024? It was amazing, by the way. But yeah, man, overall, Drake don't want to with him. I thought that track was okay. It just wasn't enough. But man, I'm not going to keep y'all up all night. I just wanted to give my 2 cents in about that. For those on Facebook want to debate me, welcome. This is your platform to come and debate me on here. Shout out to the Core Room podcast. Everybody that chimed in, showed me love tonight. Poppy YT, shout out to you. Jonathan Hare, shout out to you. Who else we had up in here? Ali Muhammad, shout out to you, brother. Jamie Williams, Marley Coldburr, I see you. Antoine Perkins, I see you. Goat 816, I see you. And for everybody else who's going to be joining later on, this will be up for replay. So make sure that you tune into that. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. I will be releasing some clips on Instagram. Make sure that if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to youtube.com/ResView. Follow me on all social media platforms at JAYR3D. And also, man, y'all do me a favor. Go stream my project. I have an EP out. I talk all this stuff about hip hop, and I'm a hip hop artist myself, as well as a DJ. Music is what got me started, and then all the other stuff came. But my EP Rewind is available on all platforms. 5 songs that sample some of your favorite hits from the 90s and then the early 2000s. So it's called Rewind for a reason, because I took it back. And actually, right here, that is the cover right here to Rewind. Make sure that you go and check that out, man. What you said, just seen last 10 minutes and I fuck with the commentary. Man, thank you, Jonathan Hare, man. If you haven't, subscribe to the channel for me, because I do this every Tuesday, 8:30. If I'm able to do it at 8:30, yeah, I was a little late today, but every week I do a live, and I also release different clips from my podcast as well. Thank you, Core Room Podcast. Yes, always a good take. And like I said, do your boy a favor, just go listen to the project EP. It's called J Red Rewind. Just type that in. It's scrolling across your screen right now. I promise you won't be disappointed. Check out my music. And then if you're in ATL, holla at me, because I do DJ as well. But yeah, man, thank you everybody for joining me. And if you haven't subscribed, you need to become a subscriber. Follow me on all social media platforms at JAYR3D. JAYR3D. And man, I hope y'all have a good night. I will see y'all on the next broadcast. J Red signing out.